God damn it. I missed Dale opening his beer there. That sounded great.
Yeah, that would be the best way to start it. I got another one too. I could do that here soon.
The sound effects. Our show opening. We don't have a good show opening yet.
Oh, I could make one.
That would be cool. That would be
We got to
totally
figure
cool.
it out.
That's
the thing. I don't know if you got to upgrade the StreamYard though, because then you could have the overlay video clips where you could just make something, your own, and then you could play that. And that would be pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to up. Aren't they making you do StreamYards for like a year or 10 years or a half a century or something like that?
I don't know. I think it's just you can have like an annual plan, or you can just do it monthly, which I think for monthly it's like $25, which might be too much for some people, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I see Saw in the chat, SAAA. I see Villas Care Socus. I'm so bad at this. Michael Ruff, Matches Malone, welcome. We are going to just kind of hang out. I guess our A.D.D show is pretty casual, but there is a lot to talk about. You started telling me right before we began that you'd watched a debate. You wanted to finish telling me about that?
Yeah, it was Vaush and Destiny. They were talking about, I guess, your ability to, if you're in the right, if you're using your the self-defense excuse, and Vaush is very much, he's just a Marxist, like he's a socialist on the left, so he doesn't really think that anything's justified. That and he's always making excuses about it too. Like there's no scenario in which the mob is coming after you where he feels that it's justified to use the gun that you've already had out in self-defense.
I know.
He didn't believe that was justified, that you should just submit to the mob.
Oh man, it's so funny because I was thinking about this today for the first time, that social justice is what they talk about, and social can be thought of as mob justice, right? He's basically saying mob is social justice a dog whistle for mob justice now?
Well, I've had a problem with the social modifier to the phrase like social justice, because justice is justice.
Yeah,
saying
totally.
Social, it's already justice. It would be like saying basketball is a social sport. That doesn't make any sense. Justice, so there's already a social component to justice. Saying social justice is just retarded.
Yeah, totally. That's funny. So have you ever interacted with Bosch? I've actually debated Bosch.
No.
Yeah, I debated Vaush on Marxism once. And my buddy James, who runs Modern Day Debate channel, he set it up. So it was an interesting debate. I had brought a bunch of research for a book that I'm always pitching on our show called The Why Nations Fail. The book is literally called Why Nations Fail. And one of the major reasons why nations fail, like you have to have a few things in order to make a nation work. And one of the essential things is property rights. Like a nation doesn't work without stable property rights, because nobody wants to invest in anything that someone can come along and take away from them. So
yeah, this is always the argument that's used. They say, well, you can't refute capitalism unless you have without an iPhone, and they'll say, well, oh, I guess, if you have a problem with society, you can't complain about it, because you are a member of society. Well, it's a little bit different than that, because if you're saying that you can't have property rights or that you shouldn't have property rights, you're organizing because of capitalism, your merchandise, everything you're selling. Like that's the funniest thing too. All these Marxist groups, the reason why they have gained so much traction in the last 4 years is because they've sold merchandise. They have branding.
Totally.
It's funny. It's totally ironic.
Yeah, it is way ironic. So so I did that debate with him, and everyone was giving me a hard time because I read a book, which seemed completely bizarre to me. It's like, okay. And then so Sargon of Akkad had watched the debate, and Sargon of Akkad had left a comment on the debate. And it was a lengthy comment going into everything we had gone back and forth on, which was awesome. And then Vosh found that comment and was like, oh my God, Sargon left a comment in a comment section. And he did this completely, just completely snooty, pretentious thing where he was like, I would never leave a comment in a comment section. I'm Vosh, for heaven's sakes. Comments, those are beneath me.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny too, because he was talking about submitting to the mob. I guess it wouldn't be hard for someone like him to submit. He's probably used to that, considering the orca of his his partner is an orca whale and probably flattens him like a pancake every night. So he's probably used to submitting often.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that picture of her? So
Yes.
Just for those of you who don't know, Vosh has a girlfriend that is large and in charge, and I don't want to fat shame anyone. Like if large and in charge girls are your thing, by all means get to it. But it is kind of funny. She did this thing where she was she walking around? I mean, she was like butt naked, wasn't she? She was
He
like,
had his shirt off too. It was really odd.
So he has his shirt off in front of the computer. Like, is he live streaming?
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know.
The lack of awareness.
He had to be live. He had to know he was live streaming, but she walks in the room and it's almost perfect the way she walks past the camera and you can't see anything, but it's almost like someone would, you know how if there's nudity in a shot, they blur out the nipple and the vajayjay. His arm basically covers little, I mean, it's almost laid out like you'd lay it out in a movie. It's pretty funny. So you think he submits to her nightly? Is that what you're saying? He's used to submitting to the mob.
He's used to submitting to someone bigger than him, which was something they had to constantly like talk in circles about. Like if the thing that was funny too was that they kept going back and forth on, don't use analogies, and they kept going back to analogies and hypotheticals. So he kept saying, well, I think this was Destiny was saying, well, hypothetically, if someone who was bigger than you was coming after you and you had already displayed that you had lethal capabilities with a gun out, would you be well within your rights to take action and shoot that person in self-defense if they did not retreat, if they were chasing you?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I would just submit to the mob because my scenario is better. I might get my ass kicked, but nobody would end up dead, which is retarded because you don't know that they're just going to kick your ass.
Yeah, they're going to kill you. The guy had a handgun.
Yes. It's funny too, because they'll say like, what, you don't support the Second Amendment when we have guns? It's like, we don't have to worry about that because you people are retarded. You don't know how to use guns. Every single time one of these leftists have brought a gun, like the guy at the BLM protest earlier, I think maybe even last month in July, he got shot easily, his gun taken away from him. So they have no clue. They have no respect for guns. They have no respect on trigger discipline. They have no idea what they're doing. So even if they do have guns, they're not really a threat, but you should still take it seriously whenever someone points a gun at you, which the dickhead, he drew his pistol, he fake surrendered, and then he whipped his pistol out and got his arm shot. So
Kyle saved lives in my book, man. I have terrible trigger discipline. Like 20 people would have died. I can't believe the trigger discipline of that kid. Like even the one guy that came up on him last, like he literally does the hands up thing and he looks around like he thinks, okay, this guy's not a threat, even though he has a gun in his hand. He doesn't notice the gun in his hand, but then as soon as he turns the gun on him, he's like like basically blows his arm up. And there were pictures floating around of that guy's arm, and man, oh dang, oh my god, like half of his arm was missing.
Did you see the Peter Griffin meme where it's him on the sidewalk holding his knee going ah?
No.
You see that meme?
No.
They replaced it with the guy with his elbow or wherever on his arm he was shot up. So there's been a lot of funny memes made of that. And the whole medic thing, which it's kind of funny too. You'll hear this often. They'll scream, "I need a medic." I wouldn't trust these people to apply a Band-Aid properly.
Yeah, totally.
I
You're
don't
gonna
think
be
any of them
dead.
are smart enough to be medics.
They'd be coughing on your wound. Hey, I see John Malin in the chat. What's up, John Malin? I see Mad Robot. I see Jabba the Coach. I see Caffeinated Tweaker. What's up, everybody? I guess we're Malin says he doesn't know what we're talking about, but obviously we're talking
like
about
who knows about this Kenosha place, Kenosha, or whatever the hell the city's named.
We're talking about the greatest American hero. It's so funny. That's another thing. I haven't turned on CNN probably for a year. And I thought, well, I'll turn on CNN just to see what their take is. And it's like an alternate reality. I cannot believe what they're talking about. I tweeted last night. I turned CNN on for literally like 5 minutes. And I should bring up my tweet, but they characterized the kid as like shooting into a crowd of peaceful protesters. They labeled him by race. Like the scene that they laid out was just hideously off. And I thought, what the hell are you people doing?
Yeah. They're calling it murder too. So he was charged with murder, which murder, if people don't know in the chat, it's premeditated. You have to prove that there was an intent to go out of your way to kill somebody. Every single clip where it showed the shootings, he was running away from people that were trying to attack him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Ted Bundy, if John Wayne Gacy were chased by their victims, but it tends to be if you murder someone, it's usually you going after them and someone retreating from you, but you deciding to kill them anyway. He practiced incredible restraint. There were people that put their hands up, and there were some people there that had some functioning brain cells. They threw their hands up and are like, "Oh, he's pointing his gun. He's willing to defend himself. He already shot a couple people. Probably not a good idea to fuck with this kid." So that's what you do. You retreat. You have a duty to retreat. He had a duty to retreat, and he did his best. Was still attacked for it, and he had to defend himself.
John Malin says, "I'm naming my AR-15 Kyle." That's awesome.
Do you hear about the lawyer that he's getting?
No, I hadn't. I was going to say, like, the last guy oh no, go ahead. Tell us about the lawyer. I've lost my train of thought.
The lawyer is the guy that defended Nicholas Sandman.
Really?
Yeah. He's doing it pro bono too.
What's his name? Barnes? Is it Barnes? I remember.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's doing it pro bono, which is it's very good, because if you win against CNN, chances are you have the video evidence right there. You have the moron who was hospitalized with the arm injury, also saying, or his buddy said on Twitter, he said after that his only regret was not unloading his pistol and killing the kid.
Yeah, so you have that's premeditated. That's like
that is
admission of murder.
That is premeditated. So there's a lot in his defense, and they always want to say, like, he crossed the state border, he crossed the state line,
which is a misdemeanor, by the way. Actual Justice Warrior, my friend Sean just did a video on it, just premiered. I suggest you check it out after the show, after the Jack show, of course. But it's a great video, and he looked up the statutes and read the statutes and was talking about it's a misdemeanor. Open carry underage is a misdemeanor, so that's not even a felony. The guy who had the handgun was on parole, which is a felony. Having a firearm when you're on parole is a felony.
Yeah, and our Second Amendment doesn't say that if you're 17 years old and you have the option to defend yourself, it doesn't say there's an age limit. So it's still the Second Amendment. It still applies to him.
I don't see a jury anywhere convicting this kid of anything other than I don't see them ruling anything other than self-defense.
Isn't it Illinois going after him?
It is the locals trying to. Well, I think the Illinois has charged him, and the locals are trying to extradite him back to the area. But the area is only 20 minutes away. That's another thing the left is saying. Like, they're acting like he traveled some great distance when 20 minutes away is like, it takes me an hour to get across Los Angeles. Come on, 20 minutes.
And there was also pictures of him earlier in the day. I don't know if you saw this, of him cleaning up graffiti in Kenosha. So he had a reason to be there.
Yeah.
Beyond just trying to shoot people that, he wanted to murder. He wanted to travel this distance to murder, which I think is another interesting point. If we want to hold him to that standard, why not apply this to all of the rioters, all of the protesters that are not living in Wisconsin or even just Kenosha? So apparently you can't go anywhere, protest, or defend other people if you don't live in that immediate area.
Yeah, they had that's another thing they were talking about, the resources. They had resources from law enforcement resources from all over the state come in from much further away than actually 20 minutes away. So it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But, obviously the left is looking for things. And I brought up a video here. I don't know if we're going to watch it. We might EFAP it. But this guy, I've been watching his stuff for a while on YouTube, and he's just completely brain dead, NPC, like anything. These guys basically just regurgitate whatever comes up on CNN. I don't know that they actually do any research on their own or try to have like factual understandings of the world. It's pretty crazy. But the thing he says in the end, he literally says that this guy is just a right-wing, a far right-wing radical in his right-wing bubble. And I just was like, I almost spit my drink out.
Just the lack of awareness of what's been happening in the last 90 days in other cities. We're supposed to feel sympathy for one bad thing happening, and it wasn't really even a bad thing. It was just a bad thing for them, an inconvenience for them. You got a taste of your own medicine. Someone fought back, and a couple people got killed. We're supposed to feel sympathetic for the same people that have been spending time organizing events where they could go through neighborhoods, wake people up, disrupt their sleep, and then burn their businesses down, destroy their cars, injure people that try to stop that from happening, kill people that try to stop that from happening. But oh my God, a 17-year-old kid with a rifle defends himself, and it's just pearl clutching time. So the normal person sees this, Adam, and they're pissed off. They're pissed off at the hypocrisy that we're supposed to care because this one kid defended himself, even though like significantly worse has happened over the past 3-4 months.
Yeah, I watched another thing on CNN, which was a moment of like craziness. Maybe we'll watch that too. Did you see the Biden interview? Biden came out of his basement long enough to do a Skype interview with CNN. And I swear he makes a statement in there that could be perceived as a threat. It was kind of like, well, the rioting will stop as soon as I am elected, which makes it sound like, the mafia has been shaking down your business for about a month, and they come in and say, you got a real crime problem around here.
Well, that's where all the money comes from, too. And this is another thing. You're going to have all this internal polling come back. And this is why Don Lemon, he came out and said the rioting's got to stop. They're going to make an effort here to slow stuff down. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually slows down, because that's they're lost right now. And they think that they're going to play this blackmail like, oh, well, we won't do this if you do this for us, or we're going to hold you hostage until you surrender. Until you stop voting for Orange Man, we're just going to keep doing this. And they think that's going to work. And
no,
it's not going to work at all.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't do you think their voters want less police? You think their voters want to defund the police?
It's funny. I mean, no, the average person, they want law and order.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Caffeinated Tweaker for 2 Canadian says, why do you have a picture of me on your shirt? I don't know. Do I? Doesn't seem like I do. It's like a cat riding a dinosaur, I believe. Nova,
good $2.
What's that?
Well spent $2 right there.
Nova 0 for $5 Aussie says Kyle's a crack shot. And the people he shot were champions of peaceful criminal heroism of fashionable fascism. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, mostly peaceful skateboard beatings and pistol whippings, I guess. Mostly peaceful.
I sent PSA Sitch a link to the stream if he wants to come in. I don't know that he will. I don't know if we can get PSA Sitch out of his man cave. So,
all right.
So yeah, so I turned on CNN for the first time. It's like a alternate universe. Do you watch TV at all? Do you watch cable at all?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear about it on Twitter afterwards when people get something trending and they complain about like Tucker Carlson, but I don't seek it out.
Yeah, that's another thing that we should talk about, the Tucker Carlson thing. So Tucker Carlson, so immediately I went to the internet and started looking at all, like, these videos are just crazy. I started digging in immediately to get as much information as I could. I was kind of obsessed with it. I mean, did you feel the same way? Were you kind of
Yeah, I loved people that were reporting on it as it happened.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, I think it's really interesting too, because you get right there when it happens, probably the most honest reporting. You get people that are just shocked at what's happening. It's not the immediate, well, clearly this is a white nationalist that's trying to kill all these innocent people. It's a, hey, look, they're chasing this white boy down. He has a gun, and oh, he shot him. It's very basic, but it's honest. It's exactly what happened. So you don't get the bias. Like right here, the title is Kenosha police caught on cam working with white militia. So they're already assuming the worst.
I know. What a phony narrative.
Like that's the trait that you choose to. I don't know, man. I would patriots, libertarians maybe, but not just a white militia.
So I looked up a bunch of information. I felt like I had a pretty good idea of what was going on. It's still difficult to tell what began the altercation, like why the first guy came and threw. Somebody had said that they had bottles that were filled with cement, and that's the bag that he threw at him. Some people thought it was a Molotov cocktail because in one video, this bag is like magic. It hits the light, and the fluttering bag looks like flames, but it's not. You can see it in the aftershot. So he's got like a plastic grocery bag with something in it. They think it's a bottle with concrete. And
I don't care like what he threw at him. It could be a fucking lollipop.
Yeah, no,
you don't know what else this guy's gonna do to you, and he's running after you. This was the same guy filmed earlier saying, "Shoot me, nigga, shoot me, nigga." Yeah. He said the N-word as a white guy, 5'3" white guy, and people like the cognitive dissonance of the left with that whole situation amazes me. Yeah. Amazes me that they're like gonna come to the defense. I mean, conveniently, they did leave him out of the GoFundMe. They made a GoFundMe for the other, the skater guy, because I guess he only beat his girlfriend and kidnapped some people. That's the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, skater guy, they were saying left a kid behind, but it turns out that his girlfriend has a kid with another guy. It's like they're calling it his stepdaughter, but I don't think she's adopted, and they're not married. So living in sin. Not the thing is, I don't know like how long have they been together. For all I know, he's been with her for like 2 weeks. So it's hard. It was a little more sad to hear like someone lost their dad than to hear, okay, well, not really her dad, not really someone's dad. So,
and they're all criminals. They're all criminals with a terrible history.
Go figure, right? Like a riot. Who's going to show up?
We're gonna prepare this messianic send off for these guys. We're gonna have George Floyd on Rose glass window next to Jesus and Mary, like he was someone special. This is sickening. Like these are monsters that they've done terrible things, and they're in the position where they're in because they were asking for it. They were asking for it. They were chasing this guy. They wouldn't be in that position if they weren't chasing him and trying to escalate the situation for some, I guess they wanted clout within their organization. Like, hey, I took down the white boy with the gun defending himself. I'm a real communist now.
I did one tweet because some guy was calling him like said he was on a shooting spree, and I said, wouldn't the best way to end the shooting spree be to stop trying to kill him? Well, it seems like that would like end the shooting immediately.
Well, the normal response would be to call the police and say, hey, there's a shooter
Totally.
right here, but you can't do that. That's what normal people would do.
Yeah,
And I
because
love
you're
that
trying to
argument
defund
from
the
Vouch.
police, right?
Yeah, I love that argument from Val. She was like, well, when I was at university, like that applies to this situation. It's not someone going out of their way to try to kill as many people for some kind of revenge.
Totally.
It's a guy running away.
Isn't it funny that they have to cast it that way, that they have to promote that narrative? Like, this is like a school shooter. When it's a completely different situation.
Well, everything's a victim narrative now. Everything has to be. That's the only way they think they can win.
Yeah, it's dueling victims too. The skateboard guy who literally assaulted him with a skateboard is their GoFundMe let them put up a GoFundMe, and they're literally calling him a hero. And GoFundMe, the official GoFundMe, is retweeting the GoFundMe for the chick and calling the guy a hero.
Yeah, they also took down the GoFundMe for the shooter guy. They took down the GoFundMe for his legal fees, which thankfully he won't need because the guy's doing it pro bono.
That doesn't seem as sketchy because they have their terms of services that you can't crowdfund legal fees. I mean, not that I believe that's necessarily right, but at least they have like a blanket thing. Well, I guess you can't crowdfund legal fees that are criminal fees. You might be able to crowdfund legal fees that are civil fees. I don't know why. Like, if you're in a criminal case, you need money more than if you're in a civil case. So
yeah, it's ridiculous because
maybe
I think
it's
from our community, we know well about GoFundMe for legal fees.
I know. Alien Xenomorph for $2 wants to start some shit with Micah Curtis. Should EVS join the school of Micah Curtis? I just to give the background here, I believe Alien Xenomorph is talking about a situation where Ethan was sharing pages from Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet, which looks amazing, and Micah Curtis gave some feedback on the pages that were kind of, I think, talking down a little bit to Ethan, and I was on feedback on basically, I think, the dialogue or something like that. So
yeah, repeated phrases, repeated words, and Ethan's response was, "You have to capture the way these people talk."
Totally, yeah.
And his response, I think, specifically was, if you made a comic book character about Edwin Boyette, you would want to capture the way he talks, and you would want to repeat certain words.
Sure.
So it's not always you have to write it like, it doesn't have to be, grammatically correct. It doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to flow well. It just has to be the way the character would speak.
Yeah, having independent voices for characters is like screenwriting 101. Like, that's the most important thing when you're writing fiction, is to give everyone a unique voice. It's one of the things that people often take as a criticism against other work, that like all the voices sound the same. So
yeah, and it's also like if you were to write for a character that's like a redneck in the South, they would mispronounce things, over enunciate certain words, and you just have to spell that out. It would be incorrect to the normal person, but that's what you do to create a character.
Yep, definitely. I have a character in one of my scripts that is a Swedish scientist, so he talks with an accent, obviously, and I write everything incorrectly that way. King Crocoduck for $5 says, a 17-year-old boy was chased by a convicted 30-year-old sex offender in the middle of the night. He shot the pursuer. The rest is history. Don't tell
I think
anyone
he
on the
was
left
36 too. I think 30, that's a little too kind. He was over twice the kid's age, and he's a convicted, I don't want to say the P word, but he was one of those.
Don't say the N word either, man. Come on, this is my channel.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't.
Anyway, well, I've debated Vosh. I've had Vosh's fanboys come after me before, so they love any opportunity to get my channel in trouble, unfortunately. So that's the world we live in. We did a Sargon was super nice to invite us on his main channel to promote our show. And Sargon said the F word, the FAG word. And Carlos, I think it's the Surfs. The Surfs, like, listen to the whole stream. I think it's like a 5 or 6 hour stream. Clipped out Sargon saying that. Now, keep in mind, I'm on Sargon's channel. So it's not for me to tell somebody on their channel what words they can say, okay? Sargon's a big boy. If he wants to say the F word on his channel, more power to him. But the Surfs clipped it out, tweeted it at Carlos Maza, and Carlos Maza got the stream deleted. So our promotional stream is like goes to history, basically.
Well, I guess, I mean, like, my defense is that I was paraphrasing a complete asshole at a riot. So,
oh yeah. No,
just for context
it's
reasons,
not a
I
big
wasn't.
deal. It's not a big deal. I'm just saying.
And I don't know if you saw the stream. This was on Nick Rekieta's a while ago.
Mhm.
He had some guy debating Ethan over like Gail Simone and SJWs and comics, and he said the FAGGOT word multiple times. And
really,
I mean, this was one of the moments where Nick Rekieta he loses it on the guy.
Oh
He
my
cusses him
God.
out and kicks him off stream.
Nick is great for that. Why I clipped Nick did some call out of some attorney on his channel, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And I clipped it out and put it on my second channel, but I deleted it because that channel ended up getting monetized. And it was just too epic. YouTube is full of soy now, unfortunately, but it's just the way. If you want to hang out on YouTube, you have to be conscious of this.
Yeah, if you cover anything like even remotely controversial,
Xenomorph. God, this guy's funny. And alien xenomorphs are the greatest. Those are so much fun. For $2 says Micah Curtis uses the N-word all the time. Wow, I don't know about that. We'll have to citation needed, but we will do some more digging on that one.
I love how he said this person sending all these super chats just to dunk on Micah. It's like most people are just indifferent towards him.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny because I just, I take the divide seriously. Like, let the fans criticize the work. I'm a creator. I want to create things. Let the critics tear my stuff apart. I don't need to tear other creators' stuff up. So anyway, back to Tucker Carlson. So I turned on CNN for the first time, in a year. And it's like an alternate fucking universe. I'd been all through the internet. I felt like I had a understanding. I knew all the information that was out there. And CNN is putting this fake news narrative out that is just like destroying my mind. I'm going, what the hell are you doing? So Tucker Carlson comes out, I flip over and, well, no, actually people were talking about Tucker Carlson, was justifying the shooting or something like that. That's the way they framed it, which is completely ludicrous. So I looked up the Tucker Carlson piece.
I don't know if it was like justifying the shooting. I think it was conflating the shooting with murder, and they're trying to say he's justifying murder, which it has to be proven as murder first.
Totally, but the left characterized it as like all the headlines were Tucker Carlson was justifying the shooting. So I looked at the piece that Tucker Carlson did, and Tucker Carlson is the only guy who actually told what happened, the truth, like as I knew it at the time. And I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. Like the one guy that just comes out and says it like it is all of a sudden being attacked for doing that. We're living in bizarro world, Dale. This is crazy.
I mean, this is something too. It's it really is weird when you see the hashtags like fire Tucker Carlson, like they have a vested interest in what Fox News presents.
Mm-hmm.
They're always shitting on Fox News, like, oh, this is terribly biased. Well, I listen to real news sources like CNN. Like it's always the fun. It's the most fun argument to have with people on the left because they won't acknowledge their own biases. I don't watch Fox News either, But I think it's hilarious when people, when they just have terrible arguments, especially about self-defense. They just don't agree with guns at all unless it's in their favor. So that they have like these inconsistent beliefs too. And this goes back to Vouch, because someone like him, if you flip the script, if you said that, well, it was a right-wing mob going after a leftist with a gun, retreating, running away.
No way.
His answer would be he would
Blow
be
'em all
100%
away.
justified. He would be justified in shooting as many people as possible. That would be his argument.
Totally. Yes.
That's the thing too. They're incredibly inconsistent in their beliefs, so I don't believe them. I don't believe what they have to say to me. I don't sympathize with their point of view because I know that they only care up into the point when they're personally affected.
Yeah. It's so funny because that's the argument they always make about conservatives. They always say conservatives don't care until it affects them. It's funny that that's the exact same thing that they think. Oh.
Yeah, there was this video, I think, what was it, up in South Dakota here, of this black militant group with guns, and people were like, well, I guess the NRA people don't want them to have their guns. You didn't hear any headlines like that at all. Like, nobody cared.
Yeah.
It's this funny narrative that people need. They're like, well, you wouldn't want us to have any guns. Fine, take as many guns as you want. You are the people that are gun phobic and don't know how to use the damn things.
Hey, King Crocoduck wants to come in. What's up, King Crocoduck? I haven't talked to you in a while. I guess I could send him a link. What do you guys think? Should I let King Crocoduck on? That sounds horrible. Hell yeah, I'll let him on. Let me I'll do that. Let me Alien Xenomorph for another $2 says Micah, bottom of the barrel Curtis. Man, Alien Xenomorph does not like Micah. Have they had a conversation? Maybe you should go on one of those blood sports channels and like have it out.
It's kind of like sketch therapy and Liam. Like everything has to be about Liam.
They just don't get along. Well, I do appreciate the super chats though. Maybe I don't want, no, actually don't make up, you guys. Just keep hounding Micah. I like that.
That's what I did one time with sketch therapy. I just I riled him up about the mods. I said, you know what? I don't know if I believe you, Sketch. I think this person who's super chatting me like $20, they're right and you're wrong. And it kept getting people to super chat me. And it just kept making Sketch. It made him angrier. So he just kept commenting. It got Yellow Flash in there to talk about the mods on his channel. And he super chatted me plenty of times. So that was a good thing. I like that.
I gotta tell you, about $10 puts me on Alien Xenomorph side here. Like he's giving me about $2 super chats. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't want to agree with him at first because
but now I totally do.
If we're just talking about someone else in the community that hasn't really done anything wrong by us, I'm not really inclined to agree with him. But $20 might do it.
Yeah, I know he's winning me over. Lord Ian Malcolm for $5 Aussie says, Mike tweeted out a picture of Edwin at the White House. What? Let's hope he isn't caught with any white substances. Oh my God. Can you imagine? That's something that they're always accusing Trump of. Edwin is at the White House. That's a crime against humanity.
Do they even do tours? Like, why is he actually there?
Because I think he's part of the Hawaiian Republican Party. I think he hosts. There's got to be like 5 guys in Hawaii's so small. I can't imagine it being.
Yeah, he's the 1% that's actually conservative in Hawaii too, which is funny.
He should have wore a shirt that said "Make white drugs great again." I bet he wouldn't have got into. I bet he wouldn't have.
Speaking of Edwin, I don't know if if you watch Hail Salad.
I do, yeah, of course.
There's something to look forward to that. If you like Edwin, there is something. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, cool. Carlson, CT sent me a DM. Can you forward that to King Crocoduck for me?
Well, I don't know who that is.
I sent it to CT. CT's in the chat, so.
Oh, caffeinated tweaker?
Yeah. Yes, caffeinated tweaker. That's it. Yeah. I sent her a link. So yeah, Yeah, King Crocoduck is not really a Comicsgate person, but he is an anti-SJW. And my whole thing is, shouldn't we be winning more of these anti-SJWs over to the Comicsgate thing? The thing that I have discovered kind of meditating on the whole Comicsgate thing is that why what is wrong with casual comic book readers? Because it seems like there's a little bit of a rift between the hardcore comic book fans, which I love to death. Obviously, everyone should be entitled to their thing. And as someone who's kind of an obsessive personality myself, like I discover things and just kind of get obsessed with them. Like I get it. But there are also people who are not obsessed with comic books, who are like the casual comic book reader that we can sell comic books to. And I say we should. Like, what's your take on that, Dale? Should we sell comics to casual comic book readers?
Again, I think it's just it's up to the people to show an interest. I don't know if it's kind of the same thing when you try to get someone like Steven Crowder to promote your book. You can't expect to sell to people that are not. They're not going to view what you're selling as anything more than a knickknack. It's like a novelty thing.
Well, give the background on that too, because that's something Mike S. Miller did, correct?
Now, I'm not going to say it's a failing strategy. It could work because those audiences are just large enough to where even if you just get like, I don't know, 2% of the people to care about what you're selling, that could still mean you get like a few thousand people.
But this is a good example, because wouldn't you be selling to the casual comic book reader? Like, these guys are obsessed with politics. They're not obsessed with comics, but they might buy a comic because there's an overlap. Like, they're obsessed with politics, and this comic that he's done has a political theme to it. So he might get a political junkie to be a casual comic book reader.
Yeah, I mean, if you can convert those people, then that's great. I just don't think the likeliness of that happening. I don't think it's really worth going through the effort of constantly trying to promote yourself to these people, because again, they're very politically motivated.
Totally.
So they might just retweet something you have to say once is, oh, isn't it cool? We got Rush Limbaugh in a comic book. That might be cool for like a week. You can't depend on those people to keep promoting you. It's why you need to promote to comic book fans, because these are the people that will always come back for the most part. Because if they've read comics before, they're going to keep reading them.
Welcome, King Crocoduck. Have you ever read a comic book? Are you a casual comic book reader?
There are a few I like. There's one that I've been reading and rereading a lot lately. It's Batman Arkham Asylum, which is a really fun, trippy one. It has all this nightmare imagery that I'm really digging.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's what they based the video game off of.
I believe so. Hi, everyone, by the way.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hi. To be clear, I'm not like really that into comic books. That's not my preferred, I don't want to sound like a fucking prick, but artistic medium. But I am a lover of art, and I know what SJWs do to art the moment they get their grubby little paws on it. So, of course, I'm on your side.
So you may have never heard of Comicsgate, but you still understand Comicsgate innately, because that's exactly what it is. It's like social justice warriors they're like the fucking Borg, dude. They want to turn everything into activism. They're like, no, sports, no, activism, yes. Comics, no, activism, yes. Movies, no, activism, yes. It's like everything must be activism. It's so insane. So MGS Komodo Dragon for $5 says, I mentioned the time a guy fought two cops off and got to his car for a gun and compared that to Jacob Blake and was told that was an outlier and couldn't. There's another story too that I was telling somebody about, how the guy threw a rock, hit the cop in the head, walked over, took his gun from him, and executed him with his own gun. So yeah, bitch ain't playing. Like you or me, buddy.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. What's going on over there?
Cool. Well, as you know, you and I don't live all that too far from one another. So whatever's going on with you is basically whatever's going on with me.
Yeah.
But you guys live in California?
You bastard. Hey, what's going on with your mic? You're like, sounds like you've got it in your mouth.
Oh, let me fix that real quick.
Yeah, take it out, put it on a mic stand.
Is this any better?
Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay.
Still fluffing around.
Okay, give me 1 sec. Sorry about this.
Yeah, that's okay. Mute yourself while you do it. Thanks.
He's right in the middle of a wrestling match.
Yeah, there we go. I think I muted him. So anyway, we got another super chat. God, you guys were very kind with the super chats tonight. Jeez. Lord Ian Malcolm for $5 Aussie says, Mike tweeted out a picture of Edwin at the White House. Let's hope he I think I already did that one. Let me
Well, it was worth a reread.
Yeah, totally. Any white substances. They were saying that Trump was doing cocaine during the Hillary debates. I was like, if you plant that in your mind, because I didn't really see it on the first debate, but in the second debate, I had already heard that. So I was kind of like looking for it. And if you look for anything, you can find it.
Well, what they did was they this is what the media did to kind of influence people's perception. They amplified his microphone audio so that you could hear like his nasal, like his nose breathing. That's why they also changed the filter on the lens to make him look orange.
Oh, terrible.
So
terrible.
I think everybody knows about that one debate where he just kept going like,
yeah,
like between every word as if he had problems breathing, but it was just amplified audio.
Terrible. A Very Dead Horse for $4.99 says, hey, when are you and Sitch going to have Eric July, Young Ripa 59 on YouTube on? You could talk about comics or argue, try to understand libertarian wisdom. You know, I love that guy's videos. I'd love to have him on. I've never interacted with him on Twitter or YouTube or anything. So, but yeah, no, I'd love to reach out to him. Most of the stuff comes together because the fans of both parties usually kind of orchestrate it. So I usually just go with the flow. Like, I guess some of Shoe on Head's fans want Shoe on Head to come on our show. Like, they were the ones constantly tweeting at Shoe on Head. Shoe on Head ended up following me, and I just DM'd her, and she's going to come on eventually. So
cool.
Do you like Shoe on Head?
People, like, I'll try to orchestrate something between Razor Fist and other people, even though I have like no influence. I'll try to get something going because I really like Razor Fist. He's probably my favorite YouTuber.
If we could get him on, man. I never interacted with Razor Fist either, so I don't know, but he's got great stuff as well. He did some videos that were real popular on the Michael Jackson thing when the Michael Jackson that Michael Jackson documentary was going around, which is it's funny that, man, it's so you can't really, it's so hard to discern truth these days because everybody has their own motives. So Alien Xenomorph for another $2 says, sell to Micah's backers, they will buy anything. Yeah, nice. We should do that. That's great advice. I do agree.
Sending those super chats.
Caffeinated Tweaker, very trusting. Caffeinated Tweaker for $2 Canadian says, very trusting to send me the link, by the way. If you want to come in here, Steffi, please feel free to come in. I don't mind at all. Let's see here. Yeah. So let's see. I've been taking some notes along the way. You didn't watch the Biden interview, did you? Good for you.
No, I did not catch it. I think
you're voting for Biden, right? Or
huh?
You're a Biden supporter, Dale?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely, totally, 100% a Biden supporter. I love socialists. I love gun grabbers.
Gun grabbers. Oh my God, I remember that from the Obama days. The gun grabber in chief.
Oh man,
it's so, I can't believe that you have a major American party who is simultaneously saying defund the police and we want to take away your guns. I cannot believe we have a major political party that is simultaneously saying we have to have open borders, let everybody in, and also we need to have universal health care for all those people that will come here.
My favorite one is that we don't need police if we just have people who are trained in de-escalation. as if
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like de-escalation will solve all of our problems.
You know who's trained in de-escalation? The police.
Yeah, the police. Yeah, those people. I mean, I don't know why they get paid what they get
Yeah.
paid. It's usually not a pretty good salary. I think they're lower middle class at best.
Yes.
But
They have
you
this
know,
thing called the taser, which is a de-escalation device. Like, are we going to move up to a tranquilizer gun and just wake the suspect up at the station? Is that the next step?
clearly they just do the job so they can make the headlines and get everybody to dox them and ruin their lives on the internet. You know, that's the glory of being a cop in the year 2020. That's why they all do it.
King Crocoduck, are you still here, or did you fix your mic? Read Nice Wonder for $2 says, have you obtained a copy of Cynical Theories yet? No, I have not. Is it out yet? Did it come out this week? Because I like, it's top of the list, definitely, for me to read. So can't wait to read. That's James Lindsay's book. We actually had a talk with James Lindsay on our I hit the wrong button. I was trying to mute. I think I'm hearing some feedback from King Crocoduck, so I was just trying to mute him.
You know what we could do? We could send a link out to the green room just to see if any of them want to come on.
You can if you want. I don't care. Do it up.
Okay.
We might have like 20 people in here though, and I will no longer talk. I will just like be relegated to the background. So yes, Cynical Theories is a book by James Lindsay. James Lindsay actually came on to our Sunday show with Sitch and I. We talked to him, and it was funny because James Lindsay was totally freaking out and off his game in that talk because he thought he had deleted that book. I think it's Cynical Theories, the book he was working on with Helen Pluckrose, which is kind of a funny story. The book looks incredible, and already I shared some tweets on it. Like, some reviewer was talking about how sexist it is, and they used the word sexist, I think, about 35 times in the review, in this short review. And I thought, man, you guys had me at the first sexist. I got to read this book.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier.
Let's see here. Man, you guys are so generous. J Mac for $10. 3 streams going on right now, but I can't resist the eye lasers. That's right. You know my secret now. Eye lasers forever. Sometimes someone DM'd me the other day and said, "What's with you and the eye lasers?" Like, how do you respond to that?
I don't know. It's a comic character, I guess, that you're gonna make here.
Well, eye lasers. I just started using eye lasers in thumbnails, and people fucking love eye lasers. What's not to love about eye lasers?
Oh, so you just did them for thumbnails?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
people.
I mean,
people
it's
literally
kind of like, why not? I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I do, it's kind of like a cosplay that nobody really understands. I just decided to order like a cowboy hat and a ski mask off of Amazon back in January. And I'm like, I'm just going to create a character and just go with it. And I didn't care about it. But everybody else seemed to be like, what are you, like some kind of Antifa cowboy? Like, what is your thing? What's your whole deal here, Dale? Some people, like, they just don't get it. You got people that say, like, do you even know what kind of cowboy hat you're wearing? I said, no. I just bought it off of Amazon. I don't care. I haven't worn it since I took pictures with it.
We're learning some deep Dale lore here. I like it. Are
you know where like my picture comes from, right?
It's Terminator, right?
Yeah, the current one.
Yeah.
Or Terminator 2 for my first profile.
Come on. It's so obvious it's Terminator, but what are you wearing glasses that are old-timey 3D lenses?
They're aviators.
Okay. It's got like a little red glow on one of them, and I didn't know if it was like a red lens and a blue lens.
Oh, that's the Terminator eye.
So yes, on the eye lasers thing, I just started doing it for fun, and people in the comments literally started saying, I don't watch your videos. I'm only subscribed to your channel for the thumbnails. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting some people that say that they're subscribing to me because they like my intro, because I do like a metal intro.
Oh man, I'm not a fan of your intro, but it's not my cup of tea for music.
But you live in California. You're kind of like you were raised to feel that way about metal music. Everything's got to be.
Hold on. I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan. I'm a huge Ronnie James Dio fan. I don't know, like I listen to metal.
That's playing it safe though.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
really?
Playing it safe. You got to listen to black metal, death metal. Got to get a little bit edgier.
Black metal. That's a little racist. Just kidding.
I mean, that's what it's called.
I'm just kidding. I don't know that. What's an example of black metal? Who's a black metal band?
Well, the black metal band that I have at pretty much all of my intros is the band Bathory.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like one of the oldest black metal bands. The lead singer, he died a long time ago, back in 2004. But that's one of the oldest examples of black metal. There's another black metal band that I love called Gorgoroth, and it's like super satanic stuff. So if you wanted to recommend something just to scare your grandparents, you could just give them a Gorgoroth album.
Why would I want to do that? Both my grandparents are dead, by the way, but why would I want to do that?
I don't know.
Why do I want to scare the elderly?
I still have my grandmother, and she's like a super leftist. Like she probably thought that the Kennedys could walk on water.
Oh no. Yeah. It's so weird because it used to be the opposite. Like your grandparents were the conservative ones and you were the liberal one. They were like the stuffy old conservatives. Now it's completely flipped. I'm wondering who are the streams that we're up against right now? Normally it's just Ethan pops up and then like everyone jumps out. So
yeah, I enjoy the when we start our live stream, then Ethan has to live stream before the Jack show.
Yeah. Well, I don't,
those are always fun.
I'm very libertarian as far as, if you want to stream whatever you want. So obviously, but we do look at and see, I mean, Dale and I are kind of doing the same time every week just to get people in a rhythm, because I think, people are creatures of habit, but I have no doubt if Ethan jumped on a stream, like everyone would bolt. So, a coach of lunacy for $2 says, please, no shoe. Commie, go home. This is the thing. I don't know that Shoe's a commie unless you're saying because she wants universal health care, that makes her a communist. Then, okay, I understand that argument. And I'm not most debates are over definitions, and I don't like to get in debates over definitions. It's because I think people are smart enough that you can say like, okay, well, if you're using that definition, then this argument works. And if you're using the definition that Shoe is a communist because she wants universal health care, okay, I can't argue with that. Like, she wants universal health care. Some people conceptualize universal health care as communism. I don't necessarily believe it is, but you can make that argument. Shoe's in favor of capitalism all the way. And I think all of the nations that have universal health care are capitalist nations. So
yeah, it's also kind of the tricky thing too about those capitalist nations with universal health care, because they don't have to pay for militaries.
Yes, so totally. Yeah.
They have to lean on NATO.
Yeah.
And it's also because like if you look at the government, or you look at the economy in Sweden right now, they're heading for economic downfall. And a lot of that has to do because of, a combination of things, immigration, and they're capitalist, but they're capitalist because they can afford to be capitalist. It's not like us where we have to pay for everything.
Did you see the tweets I shared about LA's finest, the LAPD, hurting a bunch of violent protesters, which they're not afraid to say on local Los Angeles television? They call them violent protesters all the time. So fuck you, Oregon. They herded a bunch, like it's over 100 cops. I should bring up the clip. Over 100 cops. So they herded these violent protesters into an overpass where they had blocked off the other side of the overpass, so none of them could escape. And then they started rounding them up and arresting them. Like literally, some of them, they were throwing stuff at the officers and they tried to run away, but they just ran into basically like a sea of officers that were just like, nope, nope, you're not getting out of here. So,
Yeah.
lot.
I love the one back in I guess it was Portland again, where they had this wall of people. They're like, "Hold the line, comrades," and then you just see these officers charge the wall.
Oh, I
and,
know.
They watch too many movies and TV.
Totally. But in Los Angeles has not had a huge problem because the very after the George Floyd protests, when they had a problem on Melrose, like all of these super wealthy areas they went into and looted the stores, they were like, not going to happen again. And they set a curfew, and the people, they let them do their peaceful protest. The people who stayed after curfew, they rounded up, gave them $600 tickets and a criminal record. You know, you're going to appear in court in a month or 2 months or whatever it was, right? They're just handing out court dates. So that took the wind out of the protester sails pretty quickly. So we haven't had a real Oregon style problem in Los Angeles, despite what everybody's always saying. Like you implied it with California. And I mean, I admit, like, California is pretty liberal, but I'm no complaints about LAPD taking care of business.
Yeah, surprisingly, I mean, it's doing a lot better than some of these other places with lax laws against with protesters. Like they're getting easy bailouts. There's little incentive to just stay at home and be a good citizen. You know, minding your own business, taking care of your family. When you can just go back out, riot, and do the same thing. That's why they're picking the cities that they're picking. You know, in Portland, there's very little consequence for what they're doing. That's why they're doing it in Portland. And it's probably the same way in Kenosha. But you do have the consequence of the Midwest people and their guns. Oh, I see you petting your cat there.
Yeah, I got that someone paid me $5 to pet you, Wormy. So you better you better enjoy it. A coach of lunacy clarified, which is great. I call her, which is Shu, a commie because she's on Vosh's nuts. Is she really on Vosh's nuts? Are they friends? I mean, and this is funny because Sargon has kind of made the same kind of argument that you shouldn't be friends with Vosh. Vosh is a communist. Like, you're endorsing this stuff. But Sargon, many people tell Sargon that he shouldn't be friends with Millennial Woes. He says that he's friends with Millennial Woes because he's basically made Millennial Woes less, what's the word I'm looking for, Dale? Like extremist. Less.
Here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of telling people who they can be friends with. I think there are some few exceptions. Like if someone is like the P to the E to the O, or a P to the E to the D to the O, or if they're like a killer, and you know,
those people, throw them in the pit.
But if it's just someone who has terrible beliefs, terrible politics that you just disagree with, I don't think it's a big deal if someone wants to be friends with someone like Vaush.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Well, Vaush hates my guts, so I could never do it. But I'm just saying the same applies. Like if Shu can make Vaush less commie, although, man, Destiny handed out a beating in that debate yesterday. A beating. A total beating. And then Sargon came and finished him. He was like, finish him. Did you see the
debate was this?
So it was the debate you were talking about, the Destiny versus Vosh debate we were talking about at the beginning of the stream. So Sargon did a video on his A.D.D Daily channel that just kind of dissected that debate and showed showed Vosh just being completely disingenuous and having no moral substance to him whatsoever. It was good.
Again, you have to say, well, if the alternate was true, Vaush, and if it was someone who was on the left, well within their rights to defend themselves against a group, a mob that was of the right-leaning persuasion, you would be in defense. You would defend them defending themselves. So I don't want to hear this. Like it's quite obvious too that he is more inclined to believe that someone would defend themselves if he agreed with them politically, because he kept lingering on the whole, well, he supports Blue Lives Matter. Like that's a
I know,
far right
I
thing.
know.
Like defending the police, believing in law and order is a far right belief. It's an extremist belief.
What?
That's crazy.
It's bonkers. You know, we need police. What's he suggesting? Like, society has about as much, I would say, less of a chance of surviving if you got rid of police than if you got rid of doctors. Like, police are as essential as medical workers are. How are they not?
It's ridiculous too. I mean, most extremists don't support law and order because they usually spend the majority of the time trying to circumvent law and order.
Oh, exactly.
So, I mean, there are some exceptions, of course. I mean, if you're just shilling for the state and they're just oppressing people, I mean, yeah, there are some exceptions, but here's the thing. The response by the police was because people were burning down buildings, destroying property, hurting people, beating the hell out of them, killing them, etc. That's the response. It wasn't just protests and then, you know, the police decided to show up and ruin your fun. I mean, I think even Malcolm X would have called you people out. I mean, that's the truth.
The disturbing part too is that the mob was chasing the kid down because they believed he was a white supremacist, which that could be any one of us, because they think we're all white supremacists. They think anybody who's white is a white supremacist, except for them, obviously. For some reason, they're immune to this thing. And the
media could fix this narrative too, but they choose not to.
I know. That's
so easily.
Part.
If Don Lemon, if that Cuomo a-hole, if they wanted to fix this problem, they could easily do it. They could start a counter narrative where these are just patriots defending businesses. The riots need to stop. They could do this. They could influence other people in the biased media to share this narrative, and they could easily stop it, but they choose not to because they think
too late for them.
Their method of winning.
It's too late for them. Even if they wanted to, they wouldn't be able to do it. They've already got
great now. What the fuck, King Crocoduck?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties. It was the dog's fault. Yeah, these people, they you know, they're already too deep. They already said too much shit. They already published all this clickbait nonsense about all, you know, white silence is violence. The institutions can no longer be complicit in the systems of oppression. All of this shit that they quack, but whose meanings they don't really understand. And if they were, you know, they've already implicated themselves to the point where if they were to turn tail and you know start moving in the direction of common sense, what they said previously would indict them as white supremacists. And you know they trap themselves. There's nothing they can do. They have to keep going.
Speaking, I was going to read Daniel Collector's super chats, but you gave me the perfect intro. Speaking of trapping themselves, let's check out this breaking news from ABC7 in Southern California. I think you'll find it entertaining. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Back out to Chris Christie in Air 7 HD over downtown LA. Chris.
Yeah, Mark Mayhem.
How many cops are that? How many cops is that? Right there.
I think you have it sped up, Adam.
Oh, I have it sped up here. Let me slow it down. Good call. How many cops?
I'd estimate, let's say that's 10, and then another 10, so 30, 40. I want to say between 60 and 70, just eyeballing it.
Okay, so this is an overpass here that they've herded the violent protesters into.
Speaking out in the 3rd Street Tunnel as a group of violent protesters was boxed in by the LAPD along 3rd Street between Flower and Hope. You can see that large group has settled down after a major confrontation inside the tunnel. LAPD moving in on this group and now frisking them one by one, looking for spray paint, looking.
LA ain't messing around, man. LA ain't Portland. They're like, you want to do this shit? Move to Portland.
For any weapons, some of them being placed under arrest, others being let go. But you can see they have this situation well under control now with upwards of 100 LAPD officers on both sides of the 3rd Street Tunnel. And you can see that the situation looks much calmer than it did just a couple of minutes ago when less than lethal weapons.
What was that you were saying about de-escalation, Dale?
Yeah, that's all they want. They just need people to de-escalate. You don't need guns. You just need people there to say, stop what you're doing. Please. Yeah. Would you kindly just not do what you're doing?
They show a bit of the fight here, and it's pretty hilarious. One guy like runs into the sea of cops, and he realizes, oh shit, there's like a million of them.
It was at that moment that he realized he'd fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I totally regret this decision.
Fired near the crowd. I can't confirm whether anybody was actually struck by rubber bullets, but there was a major confrontation, lots of fistfights between the LAPD and a group of protesters inside the tunnel. We'll go ahead and roll back some video that we shot just a few seconds ago as that group of LAPD officers
he's going
on
off.
the Hope side moved into the
Going
tunnel
off
with their batons and
what?
began, in some cases,
No, you're
using
going back
force
in
on this group of protesters who was not cooperative. Once they moved into the tunnel, the entire group became agitated, and it became a bit of a stampede with protesters running for their lives. But again, there wasn't really much room for them to escape because LAPD had both sides of the tunnel completely blocked in. If they would have allowed them to move out of the tunnel, there's lots of buildings and escape routes and construction sites where the group would have been able to run and disperse. But the goal now is to take in anybody who is of concern, any vandals into custody, anybody who is causing any kind of violence, and some of them are being let go. Mark?
And again, these were people who were in the process of vandalizing buildings, who were committing acts of violence before this began. LAPD deciding they're going to arrest as many people as they can do. Hello, I'm Mark.
Yeah, I shared an article earlier too, and they have tracked down a lot of the people who were involved in the George Floyd looting and arrested them and taking care of business on them too. I guess they put together a task force just for that specific purpose with like 50 cops. So good for them.
This is what you need. You need people to call them out. Like they're doing violent things. They keep trying to hide behind, like CNN. I think everybody's seen that by now on Twitter. The whole the image of a guy standing in front of a burning building. It says fiery but mostly peaceful protests.
No, it's comedy.
Somebody needs to make a meme of the Hindenburg and then over it the CNN overlay. Fiery but pleasant takeoff.
Yeah, mostly safe takeoff. Mostly safe. Danimal Collective 1 for $4.99 says, well, defining arguments over definitions depends upon how you define definitions definitively. Of course. Definitions are everything. My big question is, why do people want to argue over definitions so much? It makes no sense at all to me. Like they're like, no, you have to use my definition. No, I don't. I'll use my definition.
Well, it's kind of hard because we see in our culture there's constant there's newer euphemisms being introduced, so words are constantly being changed because you have to placate a mob, you have to make something softer. I think George Carlin did a good bit about this. You're talking about how we change words over time, and eventually the meaning just changes because you try to soften the impact of the word for some reason, even though the effectiveness of trying to communicate your point, it deteriorates. Man,
if you guys haven't seen that George Carlin bit, you should look it up. I think he starts with like shell shock, which is that is an amazing bit. Like we've totally soyed language to the point where it doesn't have any kind of impact on people. And he starts with the degradation of the word shell shock down to like PTSD.
Yes, so like post-traumatic stress they have to constantly take and this is another thing about the left, they try to act as if they're superior because they can say more words to describe the same thing. Like simplifying language is somehow inferior even though you communicate your points more effectively.
We have to sterilize the language. Look, I'm in the academy. I see this shit happening all the time. And the conventional wisdom in certain disciplines, the bullshit disciplines, is that if you have a basic idea and you explain it using basic words, you don't really have publishable material. But if you have a basic idea and you pimp it up with highfalutin language, posturing as intellectualism, now you're really onto something. Now you're a real academic. So you have, I mean, you've seen papers where I'm sure you've seen all kinds of shit. Where it's basically as I'm describing it.
Yeah. What's up, Patrick? I think the first time you've been on my channel. Thanks for dropping in.
Thanks for having me on, Adam. How are you doing?
I'm good. You have any comments on the greatest American hero of all time?
Well, I mean, he like just that.
flatter me, Adam.
He was doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? I think he was a pretty model citizen.
I know. One of the tweets that I sent out. Oh my God, their mainstream media is totally bearing this. The kid is a lifeguard, fucking literal lifeguard at the YMCA. He's a lifeguard. He is a police cadet, and he's a volunteer firefighter.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was that age, I was trying to get laid 24 hours a day. I didn't do any of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, and versus like this other guy who was like a convicted like child molester.
Yeah,
you know. I wonder if we're. It's just strange watching it. You know, like at some point, like you kind of laugh at it, but then when you sit back, you're like, this is so weird. This is so bizarre. Like watching like some people's reactions to it.
Yeah, yeah. You got to buy into the phony narrative to basically see it from their perspective. I mean, I can see it from their perspective. They're just completely wrong. But then I turn on CNN and I understand exactly where they're getting it from.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, you know, like my mom's in deep. Like my mom's like all about like MSNBC. Really? Oh yeah. She's like Rachel Maddow is like everything to her.
Oh my God.
So it's like you know, it's like I see her, you know, daily. So I get to see it like firsthand. And it's like she'll just like repeat the same talking points because I'll watch a Rachel Maddow clip. You know what I'm saying? I like to see what they're saying, you know, and how they use their ways of persuasion.
Didn't she suggest that Russia was going to turn off our power to kill all the homeless people in our country so that Trump would win an easy re-election?
Yeah, and you know, like my mom repeated like that point like back to me, and I was just like, Mom, I'm like, I just heard that last night on Rachel Maddow. Like, you know, how you doing, Dale?
How's it going, Patrick?
Doing pretty well. I can't see what the name is the other person is because the super chat is.
Here, I'll bring it down for a sec here.
Call me Casey.
Oh, what's up, Casey? How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
King Crocoduck. You've been on YouTube, man, forever. Like a lot longer than me.
Yeah. This is year number 9 I'm on right now.
You're back from the original skeptic community, correct?
Yeah, just as it was getting taken over. Just before the schism.
By Atheism Plus. Atheism Plus was probably the first SJW takeover of like a fandom.
It was certainly the first internet skirmish, the first of many.
Yeah.
You know, afterwards you had Gamergate, and then they tried with the metal community. They're doing now with Comicsgate, the sewing community, even apparently.
I know. Carlin, we got one from the sewing community on YouTube now, which is great.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So do you have
it all began in the academy. It all began with the humanities, actually, in the 80s with the literary canon debates, and then they moved on. They attempted to take over the sciences and the science wars, and that was in the late 80s and early 90s. I have a YouTube series about that. But with the rise of social media, new opportunities opened up, and that's why you saw the explosion in the last decade of this nonsense. Whatever techniques they were using in the academy in the 80s and the 90s, they redeveloped for social media purposes, and yeah, it's a fucking mess now.
Patrick, you want to finish your TDS story? I collect those.
TDS? What do you mean?
You said your mom has basic. Well, I'm assuming she has TDS because she's been given TDS from Rachel Maddow.
Oh, gotcha.
Rachel Maddow is like the avatar for TDS, I think.
Yeah.
TDS is Trump derangement syndrome for those who aren't in the know.
Yeah, I never heard it abbreviated like that. That's why I was like, what? I mean, I've heard the phrase a million times, but yeah, and the strange thing is, like, my mom like voted for Trump.
Yeah, really? Oh my god.
Yeah, like she hated Hillary that much, like she voted for Trump. And then afterwards, like immediately afterwards, like, you know, when there was like a complete meltdown on MSNBC, my mom actually felt guilty. Like I remember walking in my mom's room and she was like so upset. She's like, I think I made a bad decision and blah blah blah. And I was just like, no. I was like, have some conviction. Like give the guy like a chance.
Like it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, you had two choices there. I don't think much of the blame's going to be on her. That's always something entertaining to me when people say it's, all this is your fault because you checked off a box.
Yeah.
Okay, I was one of like 200 million people.
And it's weird because like the frightening thing about it is my mom was a BSN, like a nurse in a hospital for like 31 years. Like she's like a super smart lady. She's not like ignorant by any means. Like she's super intelligent, and that's the frightening thing about it is that like there's like so many like educated idiots running around.
That's the same thing in the arts too. Like you'll get a lot of artists that they know what they're talking about. They're incredibly intelligent, but the way that their mind works, they're so focused on other things, like being a creative person. It's like was it a left brain or right brain thing? And then the other part of your brain has to do with like logic and reason. So like creativity doesn't really go well with logic and reason because you can't really explain objectively why you decided to do something creative in most cases. So that's why a lot of those people are just terrible shit libs. Like when it comes to politics.
Frackoff Ferger Carb says the stock market thinks Trump will lose. I think he means lose, but I think the opposite of that. Like I think the stock market thinks Trump will win, especially since it's up big. I don't what do you guys have a take on that, or
I think he's going to win by a landslide.
Economy. Oh, sorry.
One at a time, guys. Dale?
Well, I don't think our stock market is our economy. So I think that's something a lot of people, they get confused with when they look at our stocks and say, oh, look, the Dow is doing terribly. So this means that, Trump's he's not going to be able to campaign on the whole economy thing anymore. It's not our economy, but they're going to keep pointing to it. It's kind of a pointless thing that people constantly do. But as far as, here's the thing, like he is like some people even projected him to win New York. Like I'm the kind of person that if he wins Florida, I think he has like a 90% chance of winning. If he wins New York, there's no chance he's losing.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
And it's very interesting because like I grew up in New Jersey in the like the early 80s, like mid 80s. And at that time, like Donald Trump was like super popular. You know what I'm saying? Like with everyone, like in New Jersey and New York, like everyone like loved the guy. And I still think there's still a lot of people there that love him. Like I have friends that live in New York City, and they all think that he's like amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's just I think it's all like the implants that move to New York City. It's like all the people that move from like Pennsylvania or from like maybe somewhere else in the country, or go there for work. I think those are all the people that are like kind of like anti-Trump, but they're not even like from New York.
What's up, Shane? Thank you for joining the stream.
What's going on? First off, hello everyone. Hello Dale. Hello Adam, and the other gent,
King Crocoduck.
How's it going?
How's it going, sir? That shooting, that kid. First off, I am not entrenched in the politics of this whole thing with the shooting, so I've just been watching this kid from different angles. Like shooting this guy in the arm. I'm like obsessed. Was he really trained? Have we gotten down to that yet? I know he was a volunteer, a volunteer, a lifeguard, all this stuff, but was he like trained to shoot off his back?
He had
trained or not, he was clearly skilled.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like Keanu Reeves running around out there.
Yeah, no shit.
It's like he like didn't miss anything.
Yeah,
but more importantly, the trigger control. He showed tremendous amount of restraint under a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
that was the most impressive thing to me.
So that last angle I saw, like it looked like the guy barely got the gun out, and then he blew his bicep out. And then the minute obviously the guy couldn't straighten the barrel of his gun that he was still holding. He just went to the next guy. He shuffles the his sights onto the next guy, and then the guy right behind that guy throws his hands up like, dude, I'm not fucking with you. It was funny as shit. Like to watch the minute he saw the guy couldn't lift the gun, he just sighted to the next guy running up. And that's why I'm like, is he trained? And who the hell trains to shoot off your back like that with an assault rifle? I've never been in the military, but I don't think that's a thing, is it? Like
I saw that in John Wick. I don't think I saw that anywhere else.
Kyle, add him to the pile Rittenhouse.
Add him to the pile.
The stories that are going to come out in the near future, I'm very much looking forward to, just because the last thing I shared before we jumped on here was an acknowledgement by the ADL that he has no ties to any extremist organizations. And if it's the ADL, which is completely like leftist organization, then they're going to have a tough time defending this narrative that they're trying to prop up that he's some kind of like extremist white supremacist.
Well, I saw like at first they went against him because they said, and I'm not sure if it was real or if it was just a kid that looked like him, he was front row at a Trump rally. That came out right away, really quick. Did you see that?
Yeah. What is the deal there? Like, is it illegal to go to a Trump rally?
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
What the
He
fuck?
could be a Satanist sacrificing a goat, and I wouldn't think any differently.
They've got this narrative that he was like a school shooter, and that's why they're trying to place him at the front row of a Trump rally. But I'm going, you have the wrong guy. Like, what do you like? You guys
You know that he's Hispanic, right?
Yeah, totally. I caught that. Yeah.
Well, somebody pointed out there were only 2 shots, and I'm not a gun person. I own a gun, but I'm not a gun person. But somebody pointed out there were only 2 shots in that position that would have assured that he lived or he wouldn't gotten shot at, and that was one, that guy's bicep or his hand, but basically that arm holding the gun, and a headshot. Because even if he had shot the guy in the body, he could have still fired his gun, right? So, like, I don't know. I've not seen anything like this since RoboCop, where he had the, he shoots that guy in the balls. I've not seen it since, and I've just been looking at it from different angles over and over and over again, in complete awe. Like
they said something in one of the articles that I read that he held up a hand sign, and I was wondering because a lot of you would think, I don't know, but he talked to the officers earlier, and I wonder if they have a hand sign or something to show that they're friendlies or safe or something like that. And he held up whatever the hand sign it was that they were using.
I have heard of universal SOS kind of signs for marksmen in this kind of situation, riflemen in this situation. I think, and I think it involves shots as well, like firing 3 shots in the air or something.
Oh yeah, it looked like he held up 4. It looked like he held up the 4 sign. Danimal Collective 1 for $9.99 makes it an embarrassing admission here. We have to give him credit for. I used to be such a lefty like 10 years ago. I'd wake up early to download TYT, Mad Out, and Best of the Left to listen to on my way to work until they came for my video games, and it all changed. Yeah, that's right. You thought they were your friends until all of a sudden
I was really into Keith Olbermann like 13, 14 years ago.
I know, he seemed sane. What happened?
Yeah.
I was a big Bill Maher guy.
Yeah, I like Bill Maher too. But now he's just the whole thing where he was defending, like rooting for a recession because it would get Trump out. That's a big fuck you, and I can't stand that.
It's a fuck you to poor people. Do these people not understand that recessions? Like, who do you think the recessions hurt, guy?
When Bill Maher was picking on David Icke, that's when he broke my heart.
Who was it?
David Icke.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is.
He's like the lizard guy, the guy that's always like the lizard Illuminati.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not you believe it or not, he's interesting and he has the right to his opinion.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I always feel everyone has a right to their opinion. That's one of the reasons why I like to talk to different people, is to show people you can do it and survive. Not like the end of the world because someone disagrees with you.
Yeah, Colbert was another one too.
Oh yeah.
Colbert, what happened? What
Now he's
man.
just a shill. He's just a shill now. You hear him like talking with Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like nodding his head. He knows what she's saying is total BS too.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris did a talk. I don't know if it was a speech or something they showed on CNN. I was gacking out on CNN because I was like, man, these people are crazy. Like, this is pure entertainment. But she sounds like a drunk girl at a party to me. Like, I can't get it out of my head every time she talks.
Yeah, she's a wine ant.
Definitely. She doesn't sound professional.
Super nasally voice. Oh, so annoying.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I believe it was in 2004 when Colbert went up. It was in the Bush administration to that. You know the meeting that they have with the media. Was it the press con? No. There's that occasional big dinner that they have between members of the White House and the members of the media.
Mm-hmm.
You know the one I'm talking about. And Colbert just absolutely roasted former President Bush, and it was the greatest show of speaking truth to power with comedy, and that was basically what really launched his career like into the big time. And you compare what he did back then to the kind of shit he's doing today. It's like, what happened to you, man?
Yeah, totally.
Well, they got to him.
I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi, screaming at Anakin, like you were supposed to be the chosen one.
Yeah, boy, that has changed, hasn't it? It really has. He gave up. Maybe it was because his shtick used to be doing like a fake conservative.
Yeah.
So I guess he kind of had to understand conservatives to at least be able to do the comedy. But I don't know. He definitely lost it along the way.
You guys made a comment
Correspondence
earlier.
dinner. Thank you, everyone.
You guys made a comment earlier. I was listening to. It's a point that comes up in the back of my head all the time whenever I see these, CNN, how they overreact on everything and media, and then like you see like what's going on now with, like burning buildings down, everything. I mean, that happened with the Ferguson stuff right away. CNN basically was dumping gas on that town. And
totally.
setting. I wonder though, if we're going to come at a time when somebody's going to do a really big study, because all this stuff is like time documented, the news, it has a time and date on it. The social media is all documented on cell phones now. Your live news is, there's all these timestamps. If anybody's ever going to do a study that actually compiles this stuff together and you can actually see the how everybody's just going crazy on their cell phones with the news at the same time, and then how the news is then posting the cell phone footage without ever vetting it or whatever, and like we got to get Don Lennon on the ground or whatever. Like I wonder if anybody's ever gonna like do a timeline study and actually say, hey, is media ever responsible for?
Yeah, that's my question, my huge question as well. I wonder just how many people have been kind of poisoned by this idea. I don't know. Scott Adams calls it the fine people hoax. I don't know if you have heard of that before, but he says, they have this sustained narrative that Biden has even launched his campaign on, that Trump called neo-Nazis fine people. That's the claim. But this claim is untrue. He came out and talked about there being a debate over whether or not statues should be removed, and that there were fine people on both sides of the remove statues or don't remove statues debate. And he clarifies, he says, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. Those people are, lame. They should be condemned totally. He's talking about the normal run-of-the-mill conservatives that are in favor of statues not being removed from parks. And supposedly like 35% or 40% of blacks living in the South are in favor of the statues remaining too. So, I mean, I don't know how you can say, like, obviously there are people that are on that side of the debate, but that claim seems to be what is driving a lot of this angst. And I wonder, like, could you ask the NBA players, how many of them believe that claim? A lot of people believe that claim.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I remember it started with the whole disavowing David Duke. It's
Yeah.
like that's when it started where he would like disavow it and then it'd be like, no, like, do you really do it? And he's like, yeah, like disavow him. And they're like, no, but can you go on record and disavowing him? He's like, I disavow him. He's
Yeah.
like, what do you like he said it for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then like to this day, people still bring that up to me. And I'm just like, holy shit. I was just like, that's
Can you
crazy.
do it standing on one leg? Can you do it like hopping up and down on one leg? It's like,
No,
Man,
but
that's
there's this SJW logic and tactic. If you say something enough times, it becomes true, even though there's evidence that disagrees with that. Like you just have to keep repeating it, and then it becomes, fact.
Well, it's like a form of magic.
It's like when they wished Tinkerbell back in Peter Pan.
Well, is that really so surprising, though? I mean, these are people who think that reality is fundamentally composed of language, that everything is socially constructed. If they can make the language whatever they want it to be and, make quote-unquote truth whatever they claim for it to be, then reality will somehow conform to that.
Mm-hmm.
So Hobbit Spartan is asking, are you and Sitch going to react to Vosh and Destiny debate on the shooting in Wisconsin? Yes, we are. We're going to do it on Sunday. I don't know if Sargon may come on. He may not. I told him I'd send him an invite either way. So,
God, my favorite part of that was when Destiny was like, so you know how you shoot someone when you conceal carry? You have to unconceal the weapon.
Shit.
They were going back and forth about like, what's the difference between whether
been
you're in
carrying
the
it
right to defend
all
yourself.
fucking night.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Dale.
That's all good.
Yeah. He'd been carrying around. It's such a meaningless point that he's making because he'd been carrying around the rifle. Like, how do you even conceal an AR? Jesus Christ, Bosh. What are you
I think you're justified either way if you're concealed carry or not. I think the way that we need to act as a society is if you're chasing after someone, you have to expect that they could be hiding something like maybe a snub nose. You just don't go after people. That should be the number one rule because they might have a gun. They might be packing. Even 100-pound woman or 70-pound woman might have a little snub nose. They could shoot you in the head and kill you.
I've been hearing a certain line along, just bouncing off of this, that, by showing up with this gun, this visible gun, he was asking for trouble. The mere act of just bringing it to the protest. And I'm thinking to myself, aren't these the same people who insist correctly, as though we're all idiots and we don't already know this, that when a woman is walking in the middle of the street and she's wearing a high skirt, she's not asking for it. She's not asking for trouble. But you could see where I'm going with this. You could really troll people. Somebody says he was asking for trouble when he was carrying around that rifle. Just comment underneath that. She was asking for trouble when she was wearing that high skirt. I don't know. Just
they're not going to react well to that. There's no consistency in their arguments anyway. They're just.
Adam, I shared a tweet with you on Twitter and Twitter DMs. I think it's pretty funny.
Cool. What is it?
It's an image.
Oh, cool. Oh, no way. Someone got that tattooed. It's the Peter Griffin with his arm shot up.
Oh man, that was quick.
Someone tattooed it on them already. Oh my God. Can I share this? I don't know if I can. Yeah, I think I can.
I've not been following it. Did that guy lose his arm or?
No, he's got it.
They saved the arm.
Yeah, he saved it, and he says that he wished that he would have got the kid instead.
I know. He admitted that it was premeditated. He said,
"Yeah," and it's like
trying to walk up to him and kill him.
Yeah.
The tattoo of a lifetime.
Ah!
Oh, look, he's got him with the Glock there too. Holy shit. The left is, oh man. They're setting up the same exact thing that happened in the election. They're totally gaslighting all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to have to come out and say, oh, turns out he's not a white supremacist, guys.
They're never going to do that. What world are you living in, Adam? They didn't do that for the Covington kids. They're still talking shit about them. This is never going to happen. What world? What planet are you living on? When have they last corrected their mistakes?
Yeah, they don't correct them. They just move on to the next thing.
But people catch on. Don't you think this is like losing their? No, you're right. You're totally right. What am I talking about? They have zero credibility left as it is.
They're blaming the reason why Hillary lost on emails. If you think about all the ways that Trump can dunk on Biden, I don't think he can lose. In a fair election, I don't think he's going to lose.
Yeah,
You had to convince people in 2016. You don't anymore. You have people coming to you saying, you know what? I don't really think you guys are that crazy anymore. You guys have the right idea. I'm actually probably going to vote like you guys do now.
Yeah, that's
well, I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan that were kind of on the fence before, and now they're over here.
Yeah, Tim Pool actually did come out in favor of Trump. Yeah. I have too many, like, I'm surrounded by people with TDS, and I'm just a terrible liar. I don't want to vote for Trump and tell them, no, I didn't vote for Trump.
An hour neck of the woods, Adam. What difference would it make?
I know exactly. King Crocoduck says it perfectly. It doesn't matter. Our votes in California are completely worthless. So it's just, if I was in a swing state, I probably would vote Trump and just like keep it to myself. But since I'm not in that position, I'm just, I might vote for Kanye. What the hell?
Yeah, get creative.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. Did you guys see the clip of Nancy Pelosi saying that Joe Biden shouldn't debate Trump, that Trump is not worthy of debating? It's so ridiculous.
Dude, I saw a problem with this debate like 12 miles ago. I don't know why they are just now realizing that they're in so much trouble over the debate.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is there's going to be something that I think the CNN keeps hammering Trump about why he doesn't address this fine people hoax that they've concocted. Like they realize now that he's never praised neo-Nazis, and they've moved over to, well, if we've been accusing you of praising neo-Nazis for literally years now, how are you, like, if he's not defending himself, then he must be guilty. That's basically the argument they're making now on CNN. And
he should just take Pelosi's words out of her mouth. You're not worthy of responding to CNN.
No. I think the only reason he's not responding is because he's going to throw it at Biden in the debate. He's like, that's when he's going to respond in front of everyone in the United States when he has the biggest possible audience you could have. And it's going to be like crazy. Like, how is Biden going to respond to that?
Like, just when you thought that it couldn't get any more interesting than Hillary Clinton versus Trump, now it's Trump versus Biden, which everyone's going to be dying to see.
Yeah, because they wonder if Biden is even going to be able to keep up.
That's what scares me, is I think like he won't. Of course, Trump's going to win, and then I think the left is going to act like he was bullied by Trump, and it's like, no, this is a debate. He's supposed to be barraged. He's supposed to be caught off guard. He's supposed to be put down. I think like they're going to get so woke and sensitive. They're going to like, look how mean you are to old elderly people. And it's like, fuck you. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're totally just going to act
like both old.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to act like, you assholes, you're picking on a blinking old man who thinks you're black, or he decides who's black or whatever.
Yeah. I love listening to like just the clips of Joe Biden just like fumbling over his words. It gets me every time.
There's a guy on YouTube, Dr. Grande. What's his first name? Dr. Todd Grande, and he does great videos psychoanalyzing people. And he did a video on Biden and Trump both, and he's pretty even-handed. And he doesn't seem to think Biden has dementia. And he brought out an argument that I never really considered, but he's basically saying that you can't really judge Biden for dementia because Biden is in such a stressful situation that any one of us might act differently if we were in that kind of stressful situation, which makes sense to me. So
But
But
that
if that were
doesn't mean
true-
he should be president. I mean,
No,
that's
no,
more the
totally.
argument he shouldn't.
Yeah, totally. That's a great argument why you shouldn't be. What, you
This
can't
was
handle
the argument against Trump that they were using,
Yeah.
that he should act professional because he's going to be president. That comparing that to Hillary, like Hillary knows how to be a politician. Like, what kind of argument is that? If you know how to do the job, just do the job.
Yeah, Luca recommended that video to me, which was great. Yeah, thanks for recommending that. So I was looking for that other video just so we can show the lunacy, but
What like when I first tuned in, you guys were watching it like the LA riot situation? Is that what you guys were watching?
we had a video up from a guy named the Rational National, which I personally think that he probably doesn't have an IQ above 90. This guy is not very bright. It's like a typical left winger, regurgitates everything. But there was one thing that he was saying I thought was completely comical. Oh wait, I still have it up. Holy cow! Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I'll stumble upon these people on Twitter that I'm just like, I can't even believe you're real. It's like you just look at the things that they're posting and you're like, it's so bizarre. But then you find like 10 people that are like exactly like them.
Yeah, I shouldn't go off. I'm not really the smartest guy. Sitch is obviously the guy that I do the podcast with, like way smarter than me. But I read this book that I feel like added 20 IQ points on because I kind of understand human psychology. The book is The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. I recommend that book all the time to people. That book, it will totally make you 20 IQ points smarter. Yeah, it just points out so many things that many people just don't realize. Like some people know it intuitively, but they don't know it rationally. And I'm just one of those kind of rational people. So I never really thought of any of that stuff until Jonathan Haidt pointed out in that book. Milkman Dan for $5 Aussie says, I married myself. Corn Pop was my best man. All the roaches were there. I learned a lot. Come on, man. Vote for me. Milk Dude Dan 2020. So Milkman Dan wants us to vote for him. Only good things. Milkman Dan. We're ready. So you guys want to, what's going on with your project? What's going on with your project, Patrick?
Johnny Phantasm 1985.
Yeah.
It's going pretty well. Like we launched it about 2 weeks ago. We're about 16,000 right now. We've passed a bunch of stretch goals. Yeah, I mean things are going pretty well. We're about to like reveal something big for our $20,000 stretch goal. So yeah, if you're around on the Indiegogo, go check out Johnny Phantasm 1985.
You can throw a link in the chat if you want. If you're not a mod, I'll make you a mod. You just say something. What's going on with you, Shane? How's your thing? I've been working on mine like crazy, like trying to get my shit together on my campaign. So,
what are you working on? Pages or script? Or
pages.
what?
Supervillains Anonymous. I'm working on 6 pages for the campaign. You're probably doing something similar to that, right?
No, we have all our artwork for the campaign done. We actually, everything for the campaign's done except for the first 30 days, everything's done. We actually have it all mapped out and everything. I guess I could click it live anytime. We're probably doing it the end of September though. We're right now just doing the mailing list, which we're 1,000+ on now, which is really good. So we're now unlocked a secret tier, which we're building that. But it's going good. I was doing a funny logo thing for because one of the cats is like a Boris the cat food guy. So we were doing like a salty balls treats thing, like a little funny thing last night. It was kind of, I mean, it was like one of those things you draw and you just get a chuckle out of. So that I had a good time with that. That's pretty much it. Most of my artwork's done, not for printing, but just for the campaign. I'm actually still working on a lot of DC stuff right now, trying to get it wrapped up. So,
so that's why you can't launch. You're like working.
well, I think it's too much, and I think it's too stressful, and like it's stressful from different angles. Like now DC's kind of ghosting me on posts on the book I'm doing. Like they don't want to mention my name. So now, whereas before they would mention my name or tag me and stuff, now they don't. It was funny during that DC fandom, even like James, they posted some Metal Men stuff, and I was like, hey, why don't you credit me? And then all of a sudden James Gunn tweets in like, hey, I want to do a Metal Men movie. And it's like, this is just fucking stupid. Like it's like little things getting it kind of bothered me, but then it didn't. But I'm just like, I want to get this stuff wrapped up and off my plate. And
you're burying the lead here, Shane. You're burying what? So you're working on a Metal Man. You're working on a Metal Man book for DC Comics, and James Gunn is chiming in, talking about how he wants to do a Metal Man movie, and they're not crediting you on the book. Is that
no? They're not in the post. It's like, why are you posting my artwork, but you're not posting drawn by or even tagging me in it? And they would tag other artists and other stuff. They were just excluding me, and it just pissed me off. I usually don't get
Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing salt in that wound. It pissed me off, though. Like, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. It just like, I'm like, whatever. Thanks, DC. Like, whatever. So I'm just trying to wrap it up. Like, I'm like finishing up issue 11 now, and I need to do issue 12. I'll probably launch the campaign while I'm still working on Metal Men to a little bit, not much. Like, I won't have much to do on it, like a few pages. But you know, it's going good. The book, it's weird because we kind of, our book ties in with Singapore a little bit, and with them relying, so we got to kind of try to line up press, what press. Be interesting to see if we do get press in Singapore, because of Comicsgate. That's what we're waiting to see, how that works out, if they care. I mean, they're a conservative country. I don't think they really care. So it'll be interesting if we get like in their newspapers or whatever, their country's news, just because of well, you know, because we actually got permission to use the Merlion from the Singapore government. So we're it's kind of like a big deal to them. Like I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a guy that did a book. Won an Eisner, an American. He was Singaporean. It had something to do with the Singapore government, and it sold like it was a big deal over there. They're really weird. They're very patriotic, so it's it'll be interesting to see how, if they report on the book just in general being Comicsgate. I mean, I don't need it, but it would be nice if somebody actually gave a Comicsgate project some actual press. That's, you know, like.
Positive.
I keep seeing it for every Kickstarter book. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to name them, but you keep seeing it, and it just drives me up the wall. So I'm just wanting to see if I can crack that nut is all. So we'll see.
Name names, Shane.
You know, they keep using... Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick.
No, I was going to say, drink some wine and start naming some names, Shane.
No, I'm not going to do that. You know who I'm talking.
I know.
You see, every time you turn on the beat or something, they're always talking about some goddamn Kickstarter project that nobody's heard of, and it's like it's crazy because it's like you're you're closing one eye to, like, that's half, and not even a successful half of crowdfunding. It's like I don't know. That's the comics media, you know.
We got about 5 minutes, guys. I don't want to step on the Jack Show's time slot, so. But just to let you guys know.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're good. You can. I just popped in. No big deal.
Yeah, we gotta watch at least like a second of this video because we've had it up from the very start.
I know. Here, let's. Hopefully you can hear it, right?
No audio.
No audio.
What? Oh.
Did you check the box?
You gotta check the box.
You obviously know the answer to that because you guys can't hear the audio. Of course I didn't check the box.
It's a classic mistake.
That's that much work.
Here, a militia member says cops told them they would push the protesters towards them because they knew they could handle them. Watch this.
Oh, I don't want to get to this. This guy's understanding of the situation is just completely. He doesn't know what's going on at all.
Them down, that they and Black Lives Matter ultimately have the same enemies. Someone else here saying a lot of these militia people are descendants of some pretty hardcore unionizers, etc. They're radicalized because they know the system around them is busted, same as us. But the most left-wing news they have access to is Breitbart. So communication like this can really organize. So a lot of these people are just stuck in their, right-wing bubbles and aren't exactly clued into what is really going on until it happens.
Dude, is that not comedy gold?
Yeah. I wasn't sure where this was going, and then I'm like, wait, what? Oh, okay. Is this a joke?
we're all just in our right-wing bubbles, guys. I mean, I'm basically left of center, man. I'm for universal health care. Like
Yeah, it's like everything moved. Like I'm still in the same spot. Just everything just went like shifted. I'm like, wait, what? I guess I'm right now. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yes.
I'm trying to create something to answer the whole red pilled thing that I think the right is pretty much owned. They're trying to and that's kind of what woke is. It's their version of the red pill. So they got to seem like, oh, our eyes are really open to this. You guys just have to listen to us. Even though you can see clearly from the clips what actually happened. Believe this guy.
Yeah, see, his idea is that we're all being gaslit by Breitbart in the same way that these guys are being gaslit by CNN. But I mean, it doesn't seem like the case. I
think I read Breitbart like maybe twice in my whole life.
Yeah, I haven't read them in a very long time.
I'm not reading a lot of Breitbart. I'm not, definitely.
And their eyes are open. Now, of course, that isn't the majority of them.
What's that?
I work on a fucking university campus in Southern California. Where is my right-wing echo chamber?
Oh, yeah. You're surrounded by TDS. Are you kidding me? Come on. It's scary sometimes.
As is also pointed out here by the same guy, obviously way more of them are just disaffected white supremacists looking to shoot people of color and leftists without consequences. So
look at that, dude. That's the world he thinks we live in.
Yeah. This is like clear confirmation bias. The first thing he sees that agrees with his point, he's like, clearly, this is the right point of view.
Well, they have had this narrative. They believe the only way Donald Trump could have won the election is if the whole country is white supremacists and those white supremacists voted for him. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fine people hoax, because they think like Trump praised neo-Nazis. There's the proof. Every time I bring that up, I always say, listen, if Trump legitimately praised neo-Nazis, I would be against him. Like, there's no fucking way I'm standing for the president praising goddamn neo-Nazis.
He just went on to complain about Breitbart, and then he sees this, and he's like, this is totally a credible statement. This is a credible assessment of the situation.
Yeah, that's why it's bonkers. It's totally bonkers. We're living in clown world here.
I think it was October 2016. I did like a road trip right before the election, and we went from North Carolina all the way up to Boston and right back down up the East Coast, right? Me and Yanzi counted. We only saw one Hillary Clinton sign and like something like, I don't know, 300 Trump signs every time we stopped at a gas station or something. It was just like the numbers were so wrong, but at the time she was polling so high. It was just really weird. I don't know if people should put, I don't know, the narrative and polls and the stock people put into that. It's just so bizarre. Like, I don't get it.
Trump is likable and funny, man.
He's funny. He's a comedian.
He's totally funny. Like, if you don't get that, I'm sorry. I can't. All the explaining in the world is not gonna.
And he keeps it simple. Like when he does speeches and stuff like that, he keeps it simple. And it's like people think he does that because he's dumb. It's like, no, because he's a good communicator.
He does that because he's smart.
Yeah. It's like this guy had like a hit TV show for like how long? It's like he knows like how to speak in front of people.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
fucking mantra they teach you in business school. He went to Wharton's business school, correct? Like, yeah, he understands this stuff. So, all right, that's we're at 8 o'clock straight up. So I'll let Patrick, you want to pitch your book real quick and say a quick goodbye?
Yeah, just go ahead and check out Giant Phantasm 1985 on Indiegogo, and also check out Riot Press Productions on YouTube. Everyone have a good night.
Shane?
Just go sign up for Starlight Cats. That's it. And you'll get a free trading card, and there's going to be a secret tier to that campaign. That's all.
Crocoduck, what you got? What are you working on? Are you making
Subscribe to
videos?
me, you dickless cucks.
Are you even making videos these days? Do you even do videos now?
It's been a while. I've been super busy.
The truth comes out. Subscribe to King Crocoduck. Look him up. He's got a great back catalog of videos. I would recommend any one of them. Dale, how's your book coming?
Well, I haven't really officially started it yet, but we got something working on. I'm working on something with an artist, but I can't really say anything else. But yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel and subscribe to Adam Friended, because we're gonna keep alternating his channel this week, my channel next week, and hopefully we can keep doing that. We got a decent crowd tonight. We got over 250 people.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We're going to do it same time next week. And if you want to check out Supervillains Anonymous, we have a mailing list going. And I'm working on pages now, so you're going to see some artwork sooner or later.
When are you launching that, Adam? I'm curious.
We'll just end the broadcast here. Thanks for stopping in, you guys. We will launch it when it is ready. I'm an artiste. Go ahead and leave it there. Thanks for Thanks for the super chats, guys. Very generous of you. You guys can all hang in. I'll say a quick goodbye to you. Take care, everyone.